largest Patriot missile launch in U.S. history, defending Al Udeid from Iranian missiles. In a defining moment for U.S. air defense, the largest salvo of Patriot missiles ever launched in American military history unfolded over Qatar in defense of Al Udeid Air Base. As Iranian ballistic missiles raced across the sky toward the sprawling yet nearly empty U.S. installation, a small, determined crew of air defenders remained behind, prepared to protect the critical base at all costs. On Thursday morning, General Dan Caine, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, revealed gripping new details. What transpired was an unprecedented display of precision and bravery. 44 American soldiers, spread across just 2 remaining Patriot batteries, stood as the final shield against the incoming threat.
First, on Monday, as the president has stated, on Monday morning we began to receive indications and warnings that Iran intended to attack U.S. bases in the region. That morning, building on the work that CENTCOM Commander Eric Kurilla had done, and on the orders of the president, at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar and around the region, we assumed a minimum force posture. Most folks had moved off the base to extend the security perimeter out away from what we assessed might be a target zone, except for a very few Army soldiers at Al Udeid. At that point, only 2 Patriot batteries remained on base, roughly 44 American soldiers responsible for defending the entire base, to include CENTCOM's forward headquarters in the Middle East, an entire air base, and all the U.S. forces
President
there.
Donald Trump, in coordination with CENTCOM Commander General Eric Kurilla, had already ordered a strategic reduction of forces in the region, lowering presence to the bare minimum. Satellite images confirmed aircraft were flown out, and Navy ships had already pulled back from Bahrain. The stage was set, and those who stayed behind were now the last line of defense. According to Caine, the oldest among the defenders was only 28, the youngest, a 21-year-old private. The pressure on them was immense. "Picture yourself," said Caine, a junior officer in charge, seated in a control vehicle next to your early warning operator. You've trained endlessly, deployed time and time again. But now, the real moment has come, and you have only seconds to react.
The oldest soldier was a 28-year-old captain. The youngest was a 21-year-old private who'd been in the military for less than 2 years. So let's put ourselves out there for a second. Imagine you're that young first lieutenant, you're 25 or 26 years old, and you've been assigned as the tactical director inside the command and control element. You, at that age, are the sole person responsible to defend this base. Listening next to you is your early warning operator, whose job is to notify you of imminent attack. There's 5 people inside a vehicle and 5 people outside of a vehicle around these, a total of, as I said, 44. By the way, you've sat in the Middle East for years, deployed over and over again, extended multiple times, always being prepared, but unsure of when that particular day will come that you must execute your mission and not fail at doing it.
The Patriot batteries in place had been deployed from Korea and Japan, ensuring the most capable systems were positioned in the CENTCOM area. They stood ready as intelligence reports suggested an attack was imminent. Orders came down: point the missiles north.
In this case, these Patriot crews were
It was hot. The tension was rising. 5 soldiers inside, 5 outside. The hot crew, 1 NCO and 4 troops, turned the key and transferred launch authority to that young officer.
More and more chatter in the information space about a pending attack. And as the sun starts to set in the west, you get orders from your higher headquarters to make sure that your missile batteries are pointed to the north. There are just a few other teammates. It's hot, you're getting nervous, and you expect an attack. Outside of those Patriot vehicles, your hot crew, which is 1 NCO and 4 additional soldiers, turns a key and relinquishes control of those missiles to that young lieutenant inside the vehicle. And you wait. You know that you're going to have approximately 2 minutes, 120 seconds to either succeed or fail.
Then it began. Around 7:30 p.m. local time, Iran's missiles entered radar range. Dozens of Patriot missiles launched in quick succession, first ejected by compressed gas, then ignited by their powerful rocket motors. The sky lit up as interception after interception unfolded above the base. General Caine described it as historic. We believe this was the largest Patriot engagement ever conducted by U.S. forces, he said. And it wasn't just American crews. Qatari Patriot operators joined in the defense, launching their own missiles into the barrage.
Of Patriot missiles are ejected from their canisters by an initial launch charge. Then the main solid rocket motor ignites. You can feel this in your body if you've ever been around a Patriot taking a shot. And round after round goes out and guides against those missiles coming inbound. We believe that this is the largest single Patriot engagement in U.S. military history.
Caine did not specify the exact number of interceptors fired, only that it was a bunch.
By the Qatari Patriot crews. I'm not going to tell you how many rounds were shot, but it was a bunch.
Retired Army Colonel David Shank, an air defense expert, estimated that between 2 and 4 interceptors would have been launched per incoming missile. Based on earlier statements by President Trump, Iran may have fired up to 14 missiles, symbolically matching the U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities.
They said it's fine. And everybody was emptied off the base, so they couldn't get hurt except for the gunners. They call them the gunners. And out of 14 high-end missiles that were shot at the base in Qatar, all 14, as you know, were shot down by our equipment. Amazing stuff. Amazing that they can do. It's like shooting a bullet with a bullet. It's the same thing if you think about it. 14 out of 14, and they weren't even that surprised. I said, "Do you do that well often?" They say, "We pretty much do, sir."
Caine also shared how the battlefield turned chaotic. Debris from destroyed missiles, Patriot rocket stages, and shrapnel filled the skies. Yet, with split-second decisions, those soldiers achieved success.
Because of classified purposes. And we're aware that there's reports of something getting through. What we do know is there was a lot of metal flying around. Between attacking missiles being hit by Patriots, boosters from attacking missiles being hit by Patriots, the Patriots themselves flying around, and the debris from those Patriots hitting the ground, there was a lot of metal flying around.
They stood tall, Caine said, and delivered under extreme pressure. Alongside their Qatari allies, they protected thousands of lives in one of our most vital military installations in the Middle East.
A salvo of Iranian missiles and the safety of Udeid. They are the unsung heroes of the 21st century United States Army. And I know a lot of you have seen the videos online and the excitement as those Patriots departed their launchers and went up and guided. This really demonstrates the combat capability and capacity of our Army air defenders. Simply stated, they absolutely crushed it.
This engagement reflects the evolution of modern air defense. Lessons learned from conflicts in Ukraine and Saudi Arabia have driven rapid upgrades to the Patriot system, from refined software to improved tactics and the development of the upcoming LTAMDS radar system, which will offer 360-degree coverage. Yet even with these advancements, strain on U.S. air defense forces remains high. With only 17 Patriot battalions in the entire military, many constantly deployed, questions remain about long-term readiness. No U.S. casualties were reported from the Iranian strike, and while a temporary ceasefire has calmed the region, tensions remain high. The future presence of U.S. forces at Udeid and the broader implications for regional stability remain uncertain. But for now, the 44 defenders of Udeid have secured their place in history.